As a rural queer myself, I was born and raised in Newport, Tennessee. I came to Knoxville because it was the big city. So it's served also a lot of rural queers who need to travel in, who are not going to always travel in at 11 o'clock at night to go to a nightclub and then back at 3 in the morning. They can come here in the light of day, be greeted with love and affirmation, stay as long as they want. We encourage people to stay here. As a matter of fact, I kind of go out of my way to give people a reason to stay. From board games to libraries to puzzles and art supplies, musical instruments, like even a phone charging station. People will leave if their phone is dying. But if you give people a reason to stay, I want them to stay. So people have shown up for us. They really have. But I also think that more so than anything else, that speaks to the vacuum of the need for sober, social, queer spaces. And I also hope that South Press doesn't become the exception to the rule. Because I grew up, they closed down my elementary school because of water pollution, Champman paper mill dumping in the river. So I started there. But I've kind of always been involved in community organizing. But we do a lot of, we built our business in an area where there was already a stationary houseless population. Now, when that's the situation, they are not a nuisance to my business. I built a business in their home. So we've never thrown any food away. We feed the houseless with our leftover muffins and pastries. I don't turn anybody away based on price. If you come here and you can't afford to buy something, you're still going to get a lemonade or a cup of coffee or something because we can afford to do that. But we really like, this winter we did a warmth drive where we collected gloves and toboggans and scarves and blankets and hot hands, and we dispersed them. In the little shop we had 8 single family owned businesses that we supported in our day-to-day operations. Now we are up to 13. So our coffee is small batch roasted right here in Knox County in North Knoxville. Knoxville Coffee Company. They have a really official sounding name, but they are just a father and son, very small operation, but they're local. Our tea comes from the Inner Perfect Apothecary, which is just down Champman, 3 miles. Our honey, our apple butter are both local products. We try to, even our merch, they're South Knoxville business. If we can source it locally, we do. And about 80% of our revenue that we create in the shop stays right here in the region. The place is provided as like a catalyst for people to come together and have some pretty sometimes difficult conversations. It crosses a lot of barriers. There are people from across the LGBT spectrum who have conversations here who would not have those conversations in a bar setting or in that type of setting. It just provides for that. It was important that we, queer people generally, only get alcohol-centered spaces. Do you know what I mean? Like it is much more common to see a gay bar than it is to see a queer coffee shop. But there are people who needed this. What about the people who are in recovery, right? Who just don't need to be in alcohol-centered spaces. What about the young people who know that they're different, but they can't get into those spaces? They need to see adult queer people who are happy and healthy and well-adjusted, properly loved and thriving. So where can they go to see that? Well, they can't. They have a place now to see adult queer people who are happy, healthy, and thriving. Or just people who have aged out of hanging out in that environment or who just don't necessarily enjoy it. All of those people still need queer camaraderie. I want them to know that if they feel like they don't belong anywhere else, that there's a good chance that they do belong here. And that life gets better, and that sometimes you just have to hold on until life gets better, and sometimes you just need a place to hold on. You know what I mean? Just to kind of wait it out. this is a place where you can come where you don't have to be alone. Even if you're not ready to talk about what's going on, if you just want to come in and pick up a book out of the library and turn on a record and find some busy little corner of the shop to melt into, to where you can just be okay for a while, this is a place for that. I think that's kind of always been what I wanted to do. I've always been service oriented, and I've always been in the service industry. I've always served very ungrateful people, and that's the difference. The reason why I'm so grateful to be of service the way I do is because we serve grateful guests. People will show up here on a Saturday morning. They will wait 40 minutes in line, and when they have gotten to the front of the line, they are just grateful to be served. And so it's hard to not be grateful, to draw the type of people in who want to be loving and tolerant, but then also patient and kind. Like, those are the people that we draw with this business.